Hi Virgo, happy birthday and welcome back to the Astrology 33 channel. This is your September 2026 tarot reading. Thank you to those of you who have liked, viewed, shared, and subscribed to the channel. I appreciate all of that. For those of you new to the channel, as far as what we have in front of us, it's a 12 card spread with each card representing a different house of the zodiac. Starting with your sign, Virgo is the first house, all the way through to the 12th house represented by Leo. And once we get through that, we'll actually pull an oracle card as well for some additional insight. As far as the decks being used for the main tarot deck, we have the Brady Tarot, and for the Oracle deck, we have the Wisdom of the Oracle. But we're actually going to start the reading off of Roll Notes Astrology Ice we have in front of us to get an idea where your focus should be as far as that goes. All right, so we have two. So second house energy for you guys is Libra, and astrologically speaking, of course, toward the end of September, we'll be moving into Libra season. We'll have Mercury in Libra starting on the 10th of September. Venus is currently there. It's going to be for quite some time, actually. It's going to go into shadow on the 31st of August. So there's that. It will move into Scorpio eventually, but I'm just trying to think of everything moving through your second house, but quite a bit, right? So, yeah. So, second house points primarily to possession, self worth, and finances. All right, we have Scorpio. So for you guys, Scorpio is your third house of communication. And, I did briefly mention when we were talking about Venus, how, Venus will be moving into Scorpio on the 10th of September. Technically, at the very end of September, we'll have Mercury move into Scorpio as well. But other than that, those are the two main things. And then given that Venus will be in shadow when it does move into Scorpio, well, technically before that, but yeah. So that's significant there. So we'll keep that in mind for your communication. And we have Uranus. So Uranus is in Gemini, which is your 10th house of career and social status. And that's actually going to be retrograde starting on the 10th of September. So some significance there too. That can strengthen the energy of Uranus on one hand, but also, settle it somewhat too. So it sounds like a mixed bag there, but might be seeing some sudden shifts when it comes to that area of life. So we'll keep that in mind as we go through the main spread. So for your first house, which points to personality, self-awareness, and appearance, we have Temperance. So this is actually Sagittarius energy here. So seeing this here, I would say this is a good time because to me it says, even if there are some odd energies at play, right? To me, this says that you'll be feeling fairly grounded this month. Maybe when actually around family or those who feel like family, or maybe just even in your home environment. But this also says to me that you're going to be able to take a balanced approach regarding what's going on around you too. So that seems like a solid foundation for the month. All right, so for your second house, which we talked about briefly because of the dice, we have the High Priestess. So yeah, so this could just be saying that when it comes to your possessions, your finances, and even your self-worth, right? And your intuition could be on point this month. So if there's any decisions that you feel like you need to make around that, I feel like this is saying, maybe step away from the noise, right? Get into your home environment or just anywhere that feels like home, and just sit with your thoughts for a little bit, and that could give you some strong guidance on what to do this month. For your third house, which we saw come up with the dice too, we have the Tower. So yeah, given that this is a reading for September, and like I said, Mercury technically doesn't get into Scorpio to the very end of the month, this could be more at play with what we were talking about as far as Libra being in its pre-retrograde shadow and then moving into Scorpio on the 10th, and which is actually around the same time of the new moon in your sign. So yeah, there could be some communication that might go a bit astray this month. So definitely something to be on the lookout for there. Now, some of you might be on the receiving end of some communication that could be perceived as harsh. Others of you might be delivering that. But I feel like this is saying even just having that awareness that that's how things could go down this month, could put you in a better position to handle it when the situation comes up. So for your fourth house of home, roots, and family, we have the Fool. So yeah, so this could just be saying that, funny enough, right, we were saying that you could be feeling a little bit more grounded in your home environment, but it looks like the ripple effect that might be for you to feel inspired, right, and ready to go out and explore a little bit and take some more risk, which does have a natural connection there because your natural fourth house is Sagittarius, and Sagittarius is that energy of exploration, right? So it could just be saying that, yeah, you might feel like doing something a little bit out of your comfort zone this month, but maybe as you sit alone with your thoughts, right, that might be the takeaway that you get from it, is that you want to do something a little bit out of the ordinary. Now, for some of you, that could be as drastic as actually physically trying to move somewhere different, right? But of course, for some of you, it could be more minor than that. For your fifth house energy, which points to romance, creativity, and children, we have breach. So this is really the equivalent of the Seven of Cups. And to me, this says just be on the lookout for trying to take on too much, right? Because it could just be saying that if you have your hand in too many pots, or if you're doing too many different things, right? Too many creative projects, then they might all start to fall apart at the seams a little bit, right? Which isn't your normal style anyway. You do tend to have some meticulous streaks around you when it comes to your creativity, partially because your creativity is ruled by Capricorn, right? But yeah, seeing this here, I feel like this is just saying just be on the lookout for trying to take on too many things, because then you might end up wasting some of that energy. For your sixth house of homework, health work and daily routines, we have oppression. So this is actually the Eight of Arrows, which is the equivalent to the Eight of Swords. It's a Gemini energy. And given that there is that natural connection with, like we said, Gemini is technically your 10th house of career and social status, but 6th house, 10th house do have a natural connection with each other. And seeing this here could just be saying that, yeah, you might feel like just things are coming at you from every angle this month, right? And maybe you might have even been normally able to handle that, but it could just feel quite overwhelming for you guys this month, right? You might feel like you might be alone on an island too, right? Where maybe you're the only one who has a certain viewpoint when it comes to that area of life, right? So maybe within your work environment, you're the only one who thinks that you should approach things a certain way, and then everyone else is kind of attacking that, like, no, we should do it this way, blah, 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 right? And you could just feel like it gets a little bit overwhelming for you this month. So for your seventh house of partnerships, contracts, and relationships, we have the Three of Arrows, which is morning in this deck. So Libra energy here. And, I will say, we were talking about the fact that you have Venus retrograde in your, or pre-shadow, I should say, in your house of communication for a good chunk of the month. And seeing this here, and the fact that really before we physically get into September, there will be that full moon eclipse in Pisces, which is your house of relationships. So there is some potential for things to go astray in that area of life for some of you when it comes to some of your partnerships. Maybe, now most people tend to gravitate immediately to thinking romantic partnerships, but it could be some kind of a business partnership, some kind of a contract that maybe falls through, things along those lines there. But yeah, could be some disappointment around that. And I mean, the one thing, especially too, because this will be the last eclipse in Pisces for around 9 years or so. So they do tend to end off with a bit of a bang sometimes. Even though the node has moved on from Pisces into Aquarius, could just be a residual effect of things that were already beneath the surface and are just finally ready to be cleared out. All right, so for your eighth house of death, rebirth, intimacy, and investments, we have the Emperor. So the Emperor is the major arcana card for Aries, and that's actually your natural eighth house. So this is a good thing to see here, because that says to me that area of life looks like things will be flowing well. You'll feel like you're on top of things when it comes to that, right? So wherever it be, like we said, I mean, eighth house can point to a lot of things, but whether it's investments, right, financial things, even how you invest your energy, your time, right? I feel like this is saying that you'll see some positive payoff from those things this month. And for those of you who fear the morning means the demise of your relationships, seeing this in the eighth house could also be a good energy too, because it could just be saying the intimacy could be pretty strong this month. So, indicator that not all of your relationships will fall apart. For your ninth house of Well, primarily I'd say philosophy, foreign affairs, higher learning. We have the Father of Horns. So this is actually the equivalent of the King of Cups, which is a Scorpio energy. So this is a good energy to see in your ninth house because Scorpio is a strong energy, right? So if you do feel like you're being challenged in a lot of ways, right? Like people, if you start to feel like everyone's against you in a certain way, I feel like this is saying this is you being comfortable, right? To an extent, or at least getting to that point where you feel comfortable standing alone on an island if need be, if you're the only one who has a viewpoint on things, right? Because you have that strong belief, right? Maybe even going back to what we were saying with the high priestess, seeing that in the second house, a strong belief in what you stand for. The temperance, right, in the first house, again, that could point to strong beliefs there too. So yeah, I feel like this is saying that even as you are challenged, I feel like eventually you'll just be able to brush it off. It might take a while, but you get there. All right, so for your 10th house of career and social status, we have justice. So Libra energy here. And to see this in the 10th house is definitely a good indicator, right? Like we said, especially if you do feel challenged within the workplace. To me, it says that ultimately things will balance out anyway. Now, for some of you, this could be pointing more to the timeline, saying that as we get toward the end of September and Libra season kicks off, right, it might take a little while to get to that point. But more so than that, I feel like this is just saying that everything will balance out, right? So again, even more of a reason to stay true to yourself, stay true to your character, right, and just let things unfold as they need to. Um, see if anything else comes to mind with this too. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So, and as, especially if this is, of course, with career, there is that tightly interwoven connection with finances. But I was going to say, especially if this was around some kind of financial wrongdoing from the past too. Looks like that could be balanced out for you guys this month. All right, so for your 11th house of friendships, groups, hopes, and wishes, we have the Mother of Roots. So this is actually a Capricorn energy, which is interesting, right? That's actually the opposite of your natural 11th house. But to see this here, I feel like this is saying that you might have more support than you think, right? So maybe Capricorn energy won't be as outwardly supportive as, let's say, a Cancerian energy would be, right? And you might feel like they're not really on your side, but really they are, right? So I feel like this is saying, those around you might be showing up for you in ways that you might not see on the surface, but they're actually strong supporters. So that's a good feeling to have as well. All right. And for your 12th house of spirituality, blind spots, and mental health, we have inspiration. So this is really the equivalent of the Ace of Wands. So yeah, this could be connecting with what I was saying. Like we have the High Priestess showing up for you guys in the second house. But not only that, you guys do have the South Node currently moving through your 12th house. So on the one hand, 12th house and South Node could be an energy of release a lot of the times, but sometimes it could be things coming back to you, right? So maybe a skill that you'd forgotten about, right? Or a skill that you just hadn't really tapped into for a long time could be coming back up to the surface for you guys and leaving you feeling inspired. All right. And bottom of the deck, we have the Ace of Cups. So, well, Ace of Horns in this deck, and it's referred to as joy. So, yeah, so this is a good thing to see here, too. Now, Ace energies do often require action, right? So, usually it's an energy that's at play, but there would need to be action taken to get you there. But seeing this here to me is a good thing to see because, as we see, like we mentioned, there are some energies that could be a little bit tricky to navigate with partnerships, with your work environment, possibly, right? So, seeing this here to me says that ultimately you will be able to ride it out. And I mean, we did see other indicators of that in the spread as well, but again, like I said, could definitely be a bit of a bumpy ride this month, right? Like we said, we had that last eclipse happening right before we physically enter into the month, and then we talked about the Venus energy, so it's definitely some tricky energies at play, but we'll see what the Oracle card adds to the mix. So what I'm going to do is give this a few shuffles, and then we'll pull a card. All right, we'll take this card here. get this out of the way and we'll see what you got. All right, we have blessed. There's the artwork, and the number is 22. All right, we'll see what this has to say. But I would say at surface level, that's a never good indicator, right? That, like we said, if you are challenged in some way, if you do feel overwhelmed in some way, looks like you'll be able to see some silver lining and all that this month. Central Meanings says something wonderful that is unearned and unexpected, grace that is an unforeseen gift from Spirit. The Oracle's message. There are moments in life when out of the blue it seems that everything has been orchestrated by divine intervention. You feel blessed in ways that are difficult to express. It's as if the Red Sea parts in front of you and events come together to banish your troubles easily and naturally. You know deep down you did not deserve any of it, and yet here you are. This is one of those times. Let awe and gratitude for all your blessings guide you now. So interesting, right? Especially, that always did stand out to me as interesting with that message where it's like, oh, you know, you didn't earn it and this, that, and the other, which sounds a little odd, right? But to me, seeing that tower in the third house and, like we said, justice in the 10th, you know, this is, again, at the very least, an indicator, like I said, even if things seem to go astray for a bit, it looks like things will work out for the best. The relationship message says you are moving toward a deepening of intimacy in a unique and sacred partnership. You know you are meant to make this connection. This union, blessed by the divine, will bring transformation and beauty to the world. This is also a sign that, even more important, you're being called to a deeper intimacy with yourself and spirit. With this new development, you will see evidence of grace in your life. Well, yeah, again, definitely an interesting message there too, right? Because what I mentioned with that Three of Arrows energy, which points to sorrow, right? I was talking about this eclipse we're about to have soon is going to be the final eclipse in your 7th house. So to me, like I said, that was more about releasing something that might need to go, right? So I could just be clearing the deck for you guys in a positive manner in that regard, even though it doesn't look very comfortable in the moment. And the prosperity message says unexpected windfalls and good fortune come your way now. You're in a phase where any difficulties or obstacles that have stymied your success seem to disappear on their own. Be ready to receive. The windows of opportunity will open wide. Accept the blessings given to you now, and don't forget to share them. So yeah, that's definitely a great message there, and clearly seems to point to, like we mentioned with the Justice card in the 10th house, the Emperor even in the 8th house. So again, he said it looks like there's some ruffled feathers, no pun intended, with all the birds in the 6th house. But it looks like that'll clear up for you guys and you'll start to see some improvement. But yeah, once again, happy birthday. Hopefully that resonated with you guys and we'll wrap up there. All right, bye.